Bulletcast for life.
Welcome everybody to Under the Radar. My name is Brandon, and on today's episode we will be going over NXT and Total Divas just like always, and I will be giving my preview for the Crowl Jewel event that is still taking place in Saudi Arabia, and we will start off with my thoughts on the Evolution pay-per-view that took place on Sunday, which landed me the Bulletcast champion. Yes, I am not only the first time three-time champion, I am the first ever Bulletcast champion, and it comes home where it rightfully belongs. So just a real quick recap. I'm not going to go over every little detail, because if you want to hear that, you can hop on over to Philip's instant analysis on the preview, on the pay-per-view. I thought it was a really good pay-per-view. I liked the setup. It was definitely a different setup than what they normally do for WWE pay-per-views. I was thinking, since it's all about equality, they're going to go with like the exact same set, the exact same lighting, the exact same feel as a regular pay-per-view, but they didn't. I don't know if I would say it's minor league if it seemed cheaper. I mean, I don't know the exact cost. If you look at it, it probably didn't seem as expensive as the regular setup, but I don't think that was a bad thing either. I think I would much rather have a setup like Evolution, where it kind of seemed more raw, no pun intended, where it seemed kind of like, I don't know how to exactly explain it, but I just kind of felt it more like a wrestling show than like a circus or an extravaganza, kind of like Raw or SmackDown or SummerSlam, or kind of those shows can be, where they have the elaborate stage. And I've talked about this on other episodes, where I kind of like the different setups. I loved when pay-per-views all had different staging. It just made the show feel different. And I felt, even though this wasn't a spectacular staging by any means, it was just, one big Tron with like two little Trons next to it and no ramp at all, I thought it really made the show feel different, and it had a more sports-like feel. It had the light. It was basically like a NXT show, to be honest. It had lighting just kind of solely on the ring. The crowd wasn't lit up at all, and that wasn't because it wasn't sold out. I don't know if it wasn't an exact sellout, but there was definitely a lot of people there in the building. Not a lot of empty seats there, but let's just get into the show. So, I think we're just going to work our way backwards. So, the main event, it was Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, and I thought it was good. I wouldn't say I had really high expectations, but I think they were able to surpass it. It was a fun match. Nikki Bella, I've said it a bunch of times, she gets a lot of flack for being a Bella twin, and she, especially on that Divas run, the Divas Championship run that unfortunately broke AJ Lee's record, which AJ Lee was not on the show. I was a little disappointed with, but I did not get my hopes too high on her returning to the ring. But this match was fun. They had Brie on the outside getting a lot of heat on Nikki, and then they did the double judo throw on both the Bella twins. I thought that was really fun. I think they left the door open for a rematch between Nikki and Ronda down the line. Nikki didn't exactly break her arm. She just kind of said it's not over. We did not see the Bella twins on the Raw after, so we all know what's going to happen. We're going to have Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series, which I am excited about, but I'm also conflicted about because I don't know who to cheer, because I love both of them. We're going to have to cross that bridge when I get there. But anyways, I thought that was a good, fun way to end the pay-per-view. They come out and they kind of did the little curtain call thing where all the women are up on the stage. I was trying to find Becky. I couldn't exactly find Becky at the moment. I know she came out, I think, a little bit later after the show went off the air, and they did like a little bit of a face-to-face showdown between the two champs. Reports are that there was supposed to be a beatdown from Becky, but I guess that either got just taken off completely or just wasn't true. That was never supposed to happen to set up the feud. But a good, solid way to end the pay-per-view. So, moving on down the line, we have Becky Lynch versus Charlotte for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, and my girl Becky ends up walking away with the title at 29 minutes. Solid match between these two. I'm not a big fan of the last woman standing match, just because I feel like it, especially in the beginning and in the middle portions, it just takes the match to a grinding halt. We all know that's not going to be the finish, and yet we have to spend 10 seconds pretending like it can be when it's if this was a pinfall, we would only have to take 2 seconds or 3 seconds for the match to stop and just keep on going. I thought the match was really good. The bump at the end was fantastic. Hopefully Charlotte didn't get hurt, but it seemed like after the show she was fine. A little bit of a shocking finish. I picked Becky to win, but I have my doubts because you got to make Charlotte look good. And she ended up. It was a good match back and forth. I think a lot more people are higher on this match than I was. I liked it. I didn't think it was one of the better matches of the year by any means. I think every single match was kind of different on this show, and this was definitely not a garbage match in terms of hardcore stuff, but it had the hardcore element to it. It had the blood feud to it, and I thought it really delivered on what they could. I think if it was just a regular one-on-one match, I feel like if it was like a no disqualification match, I think the match honestly could have been better because I just feel like that the 10 count just kind of hinders the match. But for a last man standing match or last woman standing match, I thought it was really good. Was it? I think honestly it was better than the last man standing match that AJ and Samoa Joe had at Australia last month. So kudos to them. And that Samoa Joe AJ match was really good too. It kind of was a little slow in the beginning, but then picked up late, and I think that's kind of how the Charlotte match was. So we have the NXT Women's Champion Kairi Sane losing to the new champion Shayna Baszler in 12 minutes. I enjoyed this match. They had the three or the other two of the four horsewomen interfere in the match, so they are establishing them as a faction going forward. I picked Kairi just thinking that Kairi was going to defeat Baszler. Baszler is going to go up to the main roster because I think she's ready for it. But now looking back, you see they sprinkled a little bit of four horsewomen stuff here and there. They didn't really beat you over the head with it, but now that they are on this Evolution pay-per-view, they got involved, and now it's looking like they're going to be a faction going forward in NXT. Does this come up where all three of them come up and they try to do something with Ronda against her? They try to side with her and Ronda says no because I don't like what you guys have been doing, or maybe maybe by that point it's time for Ronda to turn heel because she's kind of done everything she can. Maybe it gets a little bit tiresome, especially after Survivor Series. It's going to be interesting to see what the crowd is. Ronda is from the LA area, so she will probably get a sizable pop. But Becky's the people love Becky Lynch right now, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out down there in LA. But Shayna Baszler winning. I don't know if I'd say a shocker, but she just choked Kairi Sane out, just like she's been doing normally on her championship run the last time. A good match between the two. I wish this match was a little bit longer, but I think for what they had, it was a really good match. And yeah, just gonna see going forward what the four horsewomen do. Or I guess the three horsewomen are going to be doing on NXT. So this kind of messes up my prediction, thinking we're going to get Kairi versus Bianca Belair at NXT TakeOver. We can still get it. I mean, we can still get Bianca Belair in the championship match. Bianca Belair is kind of a tweener. She's kind of a cocky baby face, kind of on like a confident heel. Like she can kind of play either way, whichever way you want to go. With Shayna Baszler being the champion, do we set up another match between Kairi and Shayna? Maybe just because that's an easy way to get another match out of it. But then by this point, we see the match a lot. Do we really want Kairi to win or Kairi to lose another one to Shayna? But then that would put Shayna over, and it's just, this is kind of the thing with NXT. You're kind of trying to play the guessing game with who's going to win and lose and who's going to get moved up and down the card or moved up and down to the main roster. But good match. Good for them. And then we have the 6-woman tag match between Natalya, Banks, and Bayley going up against the Riot Squad. I mean, what is more to say here? Is basically a 6-woman tag that you get seen on Raw. The babyfaces go over, which was one of the reasons why I won the championship. I had faith that this was just going to be a good show where all the babyfaces are going to win. Obviously, Banks or Baszler won in her match, so not all the babyfaces went over. But for the most part, we had a good, happy ending. Sasha Banks paying tribute to Eddie with a frog splash for the victory. And then we have the Mae Young Classic final. So we're not going to get into the Mae Young Classic tournament review like I normally do since this took place. So Toni Storm beat Meiko Satomura, which I just thought was one of the best matches in the tournament thus far. I mean, I love that match emotionally. It was great. And then Io Shirai beats Rhea Ripley to get to the finals here. And now we have Toni Storm going up against Io Shirai for the Mae Young Classic champion or tournament final, and Toni Storm ends up getting the victory in 11 minutes. I really liked this match. It was kind of short, didn't have a lot of crowd heat just because this is a WWE crowd. Maybe a lot of people did not see the Mae Young tournament, so probably a lot of people, maybe some, or I think more people are probably familiar with Toni Storm just because she was on the Mae Young Classic last year. She has made some appearances on WWE NXT UK. I don't think she's ever made an appearance on NXT, but I think the match was good. I'm not saying that the crowd didn't care. I think they realized that this is the Mae Young Classic. It should be a good match. They were paying attention, and they got the crowd into it a little bit later. And Toni Storm ends up getting the victory. She was emotional. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon come out because they're the reason we're all here. So I'm happy Toni won. Which means she's gonna be doing big things hopefully down the line. NXT Women's Champion, NXT UK Champion, whatever she wants, Toni Storm can do it. So then we had the Battle Royal, where it just had all the different women. All the women had their own separate entrances, and Nia Jax ended up winning. I picked Asuka, so did Phillip. I should have saw this coming. Nia Jax winning, just because it's someone on the Total Divas cast, having a storyline going forward about, Nikki's gonna be facing Ronda Rousey at Evolution. And then I think everybody else on the cast, except for Paige, would have been in this Battle Royal. So it made sense to have one of the Total Divas ladies win the championship. And I'm not saying that was the sole reason. I think it might have been a contributing factor, because who knows, maybe Total Divas isn't going to be on the air in a couple months because their ratings are slipping a little bit. But I thought overall this was a good Battle Royal. Probably one of the better WWE Battle Royals I've seen in a while. I'm not counting Royal Rumbles, but just a regular everybody in the ring at one time Battle Royal. I thought having all the women get their own entrances was fun. The Iconics come out, do their shtick, which I love, I think a little too much. I think Ivory kind of got like the biggest spotlight out of all the veterans, which is kind of weird, but they probably like Ivory. Ivory's a good worker. You can trust her not to mess up as much. But it was fun to see Maria Kanellis, Medusa, all the old timers. It's good to see them get their shine. But they kind of got all the old timers out the ring early, and then we got down to brass tacks and have the young guns get at it for the tournament or the Battle Royal. So we have the first match, and we have Trish Stratus and Lita going up against Alicia Fox and Mickie James. Probably the worst match of the show, but it was fun. Trish Stratus and Lita doing their thing in there. I think everyone's going to remember this for the blown spot from Alicia Fox not coming in to make the save on the pinfall. And yes, that's Alicia Fox's fault for not coming in and missing her cue, but Mickie James, kick out. Don't put the referee in that predicament to having to stop his count and look like an idiot. If it wasn't the finish and if Alicia Fox missed, and you kick out, no one's going to notice. No one's going to know that Alicia Fox missed her spot if you kick out. Everyone in the back will know, the agent will know, and Alicia Fox will get the heat for that. You won't, because you weren't the one that messed up. You had to kick out. You should have kicked out because it makes the match feel real. If you're just sitting there and then Alicia Fox doesn't break up the pin, and then the referee doesn't count to three when you should have counted to three, then the whole thing looks fake, and it gets the crowd out of it, which it did for a little bit, but luckily this spot was at the end of the match, so the crowd got out of it, got a little riled up to be when it happened, but then they kind of went right into the finish, and then the crowd got right back into it, and Trish Stratus and Lita get the victory, which was another reason why I am your Bulletcast champion. I think if Alexa Bliss was in the match, I think it might have had a little bit higher probability for the current day wrestlers to beat Trish Stratus and Lita, but I think even then, I think Trish and Lita would have been the favorites to win the match. So that was it for Crown Jewel, for the Evolution pay-per-view. I thought overall great production. Great production in terms of the setup. They had a little bit of a hiccup very early on where Michael Cole's mic wasn't even turned on, but it happens to the best of us, Will we see another one of these again? I hope so. I think it's a fun thing to do. I don't hope it doesn't turn into, I would say maybe once, maybe twice a year. I think having it once a year, kind of having one all women's pay-per-view. I think around this time is perfect. In October, you kind of get it's right after SummerSlam, so you kind of get the people. like a transition between the SummerSlam to Survivor Series time, and you don't. You get all the women on the card, and it also helps the men. The men don't have to have these big time pay-per-view matches all the time. But then when we're having these super shows in Australia, Saudi Arabia, wherever else we're going to go, I think it definitely helps to kind of limit the appearances by certain wrestlers on these big time shows. And with the women having their own show, and especially with some of the lower card talent getting to shine or getting these matches, it's all in good fun. So, as I said, Crown Jewel, let's go over to Crown Jewel. Just a quick little preview, not going to go too much in depth here. So, we have Daniel Bryan facing AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. This is up in the air. Reports are saying that Daniel Bryan does not want to be in this match. He doesn't want to be in Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. And who can blame him? I mean, I appreciate Daniel Bryan for having the sentiment. I kind of feel we can get into John Cena getting replaced in the World Cup. But I feel like if I was to pick between the two, I think Daniel Bryan's sentiment for not wanting to go to Saudi Arabia is a little bit more earnest and a little bit more truthful in his personal feelings than what John Cena's doing. I think John Cena might be a little bit more of a PR move, just knowing that if he does do the show, he's getting heat from the John Oliver show. If he goes there, he's going to get even more heat from him and other press outlets, and this might hinder his acting career or whatever he's trying to do outside of wrestling. But reports are saying that Daniel Bryan's going to get attacked, probably maybe by Rusev, and that's going to make Daniel Bryan miss the Saudi Arabia show, and then Rusev will just get plugged in for the WWE Championship match. I'm doing this before SmackDown, so I don't exactly know what's happening. I think no matter what, if it is Daniel Bryan or if it is Rusev or something, I think AJ walks out the champion. I don't think you want to have AJ lose it at this moment. Either it be a shitty finish or just a straight up pinfall. So I think AJ is going to win regardless. Even if he doesn't win anything, he's going to keep the championship. So over to the World Cup tournament, we have Rey Mysterio, Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. These are all singles matches, and it's going to be a tournament, so this is going to be a bulk of the matches on the show. So I'm looking on the website right now, and the only other match we have is the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Old Men Tag, and the Universal Championship. So I don't really know what to say about this World Cup. I mean, it's a tournament. It's kind of the Greatest Royal Rumble thing. It's just a gimmick for the Saudis to make it seem like it's a bigger deal than it actually is. I mean, my favorites to win, probably Kurt Angle, maybe Rey Mysterio, Miz. I mean, I think not a lot. I mean, who knows what this World Cup thing is going to do? Braun Strowman won it. He won the Royal Rumble thing, and we don't even talk about that anymore. So I think it's just something to where, yeah, get the people on the card, fill up time. If I had to put money on anybody, I'd say Rey Mysterio. Why not? He's coming back. He's get a little bit of fire lit under him. I think honestly he's more of a credible wrestler than Kurt Angle is at this moment. So Rey Mysterio for the win. So as I said, we have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, The Bar versus the New Day. And who knows what's going to happen on this one. We have Big Show looming somewhere in the background. I think The Bar is going to keep the championships. And yeah, that's about it. So then we have the Old Men wrestling. DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement. And nobody's even talking about that because it's all about DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. There's reports that Shawn Michaels is supposed to face The Undertaker at Survivor Series. I feel like that's kind of died down in recent weeks. Haven't heard a whole bunch about it. Is this just a trial run for him to come back not full time, but on a more regular basis, or is this just Shawn Michaels grabbing a payday? Who knows? But we got the DX versus Brothers of Destruction. I mean, it can go either which way. Undertaker did the job last time. I think since it is a tag team match, you can have Kane do the job here. So I think DX is going to win with Kane taking the pinfall here. Maybe that is how we set up Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. Yeah, not exactly looking forward to this match. Not exactly looking at the show in general. It's at 9 o'clock local time, a.m., so we're going to watch this right before the Bullet Cast, and then we're going to show up and do the whole post-show type thing. So then the main event, we had Brock Lesnar taking on Braun Strowman for the vacated Universal Championship. I talked about this last week. I think Braun Strowman's going to win. I think just get it on Braun. That's Vince's guy. You can go forward for what you want. With him, Brock, he came here for a payday. I didn't expect him to win regardless, but I think maybe you get it on Brock for a very short-term title reign. If you want to get it on somebody else, be it on Seth. If you want to hot shot it to something, Drew McIntyre, or whoever it may be. But if they are doing this whole SmackDown, if they already set up that it's SmackDown versus Raw at Survivor Series again. So if we get AJ being the champion, it looks like if we get AJ as the champion, so does that mean AJ is going to face whoever the Universal Champion is again? I don't see us getting AJ versus Brock Lesnar again. I'm pretty sure Braun Strowman is going to face AJ at Survivor Series if that is the case. So I think that makes a little bit more sense in terms of what they're going to do for Survivor Series. But you can never put it past them. They've done this kind of shocking thing before. Last time at Saudi Arabia, we all thought Roman Reigns was going to win. He didn't. It ended up being Brock Lesnar. So I'll go with Braun. What for the hell of it? So there you go. That's the illustrious Crown Jewel preview. I put just as much effort into that as I am excited for watching this, which is not a whole lot. So, over to something I'm excited to talk about. We have the NXT report that happened last week on October 24th. Vic Joseph is in for Mauro Ranallo, because Mauro, I believe, had some sort of prior engagement he had to do during the TV tapings. And so we're going to have Vic Joseph for the foreseeable future up until TakeOver War Games, which I will be at. And we will be getting some sort of instant analysis for that. Maybe a little bit of liquor will be involved. Who knows? But we had Undisputed Era comes out. They got a huge babyface reaction because everybody loves Undisputed Era. Everyone. Adam Cole runs down Ricochet. He demands his championship and just kind of goes back and forth. And EC3 comes out and says that he doesn't deserve a rematch. And then that leads us to an EC3 versus Adam Cole match. And EC3 wins in 6 minutes and 52 seconds. So, good match. I think it helped elevate EC3, who's kind of falling off a little bit. So this kind of gives him a big win against a top opponent. And Cole, he can take a loss and he can bounce right back. He can talk his way to anything. So good win for EC3. I thought it was I don't know if I'd say it was a good matchup if I want to see this going forward. EC3 still a little bit clunky in the ring. Wish he kind of would lean down a little over muscular for my taste, but to each his own. Good match between those two. So, post-match EC3 got the 4-on-1 beatdown, and then the Undisputed Era basically maybe writes off EC3 entirely. They just destroy EC3. Yeah. Basically, Bobby Fish just kind of beats the hell out of everybody, and there you go. Mia Yim does a little promo on her NXT debut. Nikki Cross was giggling and talked about, because earlier on in the show, William Regal had a bunch of security guards outside saying if Aleister Black comes in, just make sure he goes to my office and blah, 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 blah. And so Nikki Cross is outside giggling and saying that he's coming to all the security guards. So, Aaliyah comes out to face Mia Yim, and Mia Yim wins in 3 minutes and 36 seconds, as she should. Aaliyah, she comes out, she looks nice. She hasn't really proved herself in the ring or character-wise, so this is exactly what you thought. Mia Yim gets the victory. Boom. So, backstage, Bianca Belair was talking to Mr. Regal in the hallway, demanding that she needs a title shot because she is undefeated. And then Kathy Kelly goes up to talk to William Regal and ask if he doesn't know, if she knows if Nikki Cross is talking about Aleister Black, and Black is looking for blood, and Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era come out to whine, and Regal yells at Fish for interrupting the title match last week, and then he books Fish and Cole to face the War Raiders next week. So they do a video package on Roman Reigns announcing his departure. A video package on Lacey Evans. Tommaso Ciampa is shown inside a shipping container, looking nervous for William Regal's announcement. A video package about Shayna Baszler facing the NXT champion Kairi Sane at Evolution. Already talked about that. I talked about it last week. I thought they were going to hype up the match a little bit more, but they just did a solid video package, what they've been doing for the other past couple weeks with Shayna Baszler. I would have liked maybe a little bit more hype, maybe in-ring, live build up between Shane and Kyrie, but it was what it was. This match wasn't exactly the main event of Evolution, so I didn't expect to get a whole bunch of hype, but this is NXT's contributor to the Evolution pay-per-view. I thought it would have made a little bit more sense to give him some more, but it is what it is. So Cassius Ohno takes on Justin Xavier, and Cassius wins in 3 minutes. Good match, puts Cassius Ohno over strong, and we're still waiting for Matt Riddle to show up to start up that feud for War Games. So, good on them for that. So, a video package on Matt Riddle, speaking of the devil. Matt Riddle is going to make his in-ring debut next week, which is tomorrow, or today, whenever you listen to this, or yesterday, who knows? But, excited to see Matt Riddle wrestle in NXT. Maybe we set up an angle with Cassius Ohno, who knows? But we have the end of NXT where Mr. Regal comes out to make his announcement on the investigation. Tommaso Ciampa comes out to his music. He talks that, with all due respect, wipe the smug face off your face, sir. That's Tommaso Ciampa talking to Mr. Regal. And then Velveteen Dream comes out, interrupts everybody, talks about that the whole thing was that Regal was going to make his announcement on the NXT Championship match at War Games, not about the investigation. It was a while. I actually watched this like on Thursday, so it's been a little bit of time. So we were basically setting up to get that Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa match that we were looking forward to. And then Lars Sullivan comes out demanding demanding his championship match. And then all of a sudden we go backstage and we see Aleister Black. Anyways, we have Nikki Cross come out to the ring and say that he's coming. She was all giddy. And then we cut to backstage and Aleister Black is just unleashing hell on everybody. Black Mass kicking anything that moves. It was amazing. I thought Aleister Black showed tremendous just fire and just like a bat out of hell, as I talked about on the Bulletcast last week. And Black gets all up in the face of everybody in the ring. He kicks Lars Sullivan straight in the mush, and it was just, if that one that broke, I mean, it looked just like the one that broke his jaw last time they wrestled. It looked great. And then Aleister Black comes into the ring. He's demanding that, he's asking William Regal, where is he? And then out of nowhere, Johnny Gargano ambushes Aleister Black from behind with the kick, and he takes the mic and says, I'm right here. To make it clear to everyone that Johnny Gargano is the bad guy. He did it. Johnny Gargano attacked Aleister Black in the parking lot. What the hell is going on? Cements the heel turn of Johnny Gargano. Why, Johnny? Why? And Tommaso Ciampa has been on Twitter talking about the maybe the reformation of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. He was very happy for what his former tag team partner did. And so, if we get this Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano match at War Games, I will not be complaining. This match should be a whole bunch of fun. Big show on today on NXT last week. A lot of whole moving parts. They were supposed to set up the NXT Championship match. We didn't get that. We have the big reveal of who attacked Aleister Black. We have Cassius Ohno, Matt Riddle coming up. Mia Yim debuting. Big show on NXT last week. So let's get on to our last piece of business, and that will be the Total Divas recap. This was one of those episodes where all the girls go down to a vacation spot, and this time it was Miami for Natalya and Nia Jax's birthday. They're about 2 days apart in birthdays, and Lana gets drunk as normal, because that's what Lana does. Lana loves fireball shots. They had a 21-year-old bartender named Brandon. Great name, by the way. And Nikki ends up flirting with him, not because she likes him. I mean, she probably does like him. He's a very handsome man. But the whole storyline was that after Nikki Bella and John Cena broke up, Nikki's been followed around by the paparazzi all the time, so they're getting a whole bunch of photos. And what Nikki and the girls wanted to do was to bait the paparazzi into running some headlines and trying to start some rumors with Nikki flirting with Brandon and trying to see if they can get any traction from that. And they didn't really follow up on that if any of the people took the bait, but I don't know. So one of the the whole gimmick was all the girls were supposed to surprise Natalya and Nia Jax with something, and Paige, bless her heart, had probably the worst surprise where they went to a sushi restaurant and she got some naked sushi. So if you don't know what naked sushi is, you go, you sit down, and you have a whole bunch of sushi laid out on top of this naked person. It happened to be a guy, and the poor man, this was his first time he ever did this. He was sweating. They said that there was like pubes next to the sushi, and it was just a whole mess. And Brie Bella's she's a vegan, so she doesn't even eat sushi, and it was all over the place. Lana, I think, bought or rented out a Lamborghini for the girls to drive. Nikki, what the hell did Nikki do? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, Nikki. They had the dance battle. They had 3 girls on each team, and Nikki brought in one of the dancers from Dance with the Stars and some other dancer, and so they had the Bella Twins and Natalya go up against Paige, Lana, and Nia Jax. They ended up going to the bar, but first they went to a restaurant, and the whole thing with Brie, she didn't know that there were surprises, and Nia Jax was dropping hints that she loves her mother and hasn't seen her in so long, so you knew what was coming. Brie, being the mother of the group, she flew down Natalya and Nia's mom, and they had a grand old time getting drunk together, and they ended up going down to that bar, or to that club, and they had their dance battle. And of course, Nia, Paige, and Lana won with Paige, and Paige isn't a professional dancer, but Lana is a professional dancer. And then Nia being the lead, working it, strutting her stuff, being all confident and stuff. So it was just one of those episodes where they all getting shenanigans, and Natalya, being the mischievous person she is, went up to Lana's room while Lana was out cold because she took way too many fireball shots, and hit her with the whole whipped cream in the face gimmick, and then a whole food fight ensues, and those poor maids, they were just trying to put new sheets on Lana's bed, and those women were like body slamming and attacking each other, and it was just a whole ordeal. So that is it for Total Divas. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. Make sure to email the Under the Radar mailbag email. What am I even saying? I think it's still the flu shot. The flu shot's still getting to me. So, if you have a question about anything, be it wrestling, sports, maybe not politics, we don't want to get into that. But if there's anything you want to ask me, go right ahead. Email at utrmailbag@gmail.com. I will put it in the description. So if you just click on it, it should link right to your email. You pop it up and you send that over my way. So that'll be it. Friday we got the whole Crown Jewel preview, or whatever, review, instant analysis, whatever you want to call it. And we are getting closer to Survivor Series and War Games, which I will be at. That should be fun. Hopefully I get a bunch of different podcasts up, either on this channel or on the Curveballs and Sure Shots channel. Make sure to go check that out, Curveballs and Sure Shots. My boy Dominic and I talk about wrestling and sports. So, especially when we go to the LA, we might do some road trip podcasts where we just talk about bullshit and all that other stuff. So, that'll do it. Goodbye and good night. Bang.